September 15, 1938. SEATTLEWASHING. Tonight, oh, beloved ones of Seattle and elsewhere, I greet you in the name and power of life. I greet you in the name of my victory, its power and its action, charged into your world to hold its dominion there to sustain you until that day when, with that great eternal smile of happiness upon your face, you feel the full power and victory of life within you in your world of action. Oh, there is no thing in all the world so wonderful as to feel the glory, the victory of life. My victory is the victory of life. Tonight, as I have charged into your feeling world that mighty quality of my own, making you a part of myself, then you will want to do everything within your power, I am sure, to keep harmonized and call with firm determination to your I am presence, to have its perfection manifest in your world. As you do that, remember, at every call there is always a current of light and energy drawn forth from my world to bless, sustain, and give you my assistance to your victory in the light, to your victory over human limitations, human qualities, transforming them into the victory of the light. As you are entering into this class, and with this opportunity tonight which is mine to so charge you and prepare you for this great release which will come beginning tomorrow, really it begins at 12 o'clock tonight, you will feel the full glory and blessing which is yours. Beloved students, tonight, try to feel and dismiss forever from your feeling world any consciousness or feeling that we are unreal. We are just as tangible as you are. But because, in our octave which is of so much more rapid vibration, your physical sight does not see us, does not alter our tangibility. Remember, of all powers which act to bless mankind, the greatest of all which ever have been, are invisible. Yet you accept them for the great benefit which they release into your life, but you take so much for granted. It would be just as easy for any one of you, for it is quite simple, to turn out these lights and turn the current of the cosmic key to flood the room with light. We do it constantly. We do not require any artificial light or fixtures. Therefore, our power is so much greater than that which is generated by your electric generators, or whatever gives you power here. It is quite wonderful that you have these outer means to produce light and the convenience which you have today, although they be artificial, but you can have so much greater power of light, without any artificial activity whatsoever. Why is it that you require these artificial lights in the room to give you light, comfort, and heat? Now this sounds rather severe, but it is because mankind has become so artificial within themselves. They have so far forgotten the great reality that almost all their activity is limited and artificial. Observe here, beloved ones. This ray of light, before it touches your head, has all the power in the universe. Now, because of your lack of acknowledgement and acceptance of sufficient harmony to allow it to flow, you have come to believe that the life which is acting through your body is limited, because of your power of qualification, but it is not. Of course, you do have power to limit its flow by the disturbance in your feeling world, but that is not the fault of life. That is the fault of those who have forgotten the powers of life, the mighty I am presence, not knowing it is necessary to keep harmony and make the determined call. Notice. I say definitely, the determined call, for the average individual does need to make that determined call at first, because of the great accumulation about each one. Try to feel this, as I speak these words to you. The difference between your feeling this morning and your feeling tonight, as I am talking to you, is tremendous, even since I began talking. Necessarily the vibratory action in the room must be greatly intensified when I flash the words to the messenger and he reads them to you. That is my vibratory action going forth into the room. Therefore, the condition of the vibratory action of your feeling world at 10 o'clock this morning and at this time now is vastly different. Now then, when you are raised in your vibratory action at a time like this when we are pouring forth our radiation, you can hold and sustain that, dear ones, indefinitely. Won't you feel it? And hold it so determined that you can hold yourselves continually in this vibratory action to which you are raised tonight. You perhaps do not see any particular change in the outer, and sometimes not even in your feeling, but my dear ones, the change is there, because the activity in your acknowledgement of the I am presence has to come from within out. Whatever is done must clear your feeling world, so the outpicturing comes naturally and normally, because that will never do anything of an abnormal nature to you or for you. You may be sure what life does for you will come through a natural and normal process. Even the currents of energy which I release into your feeling world are a perfectly natural action of life. To one who does not think along the higher ideals, that one might think this sounds rather unnatural, or sounds rather peculiar, but why? You do not see the currents of energy bringing this electric light to you tonight, but you accept it. You do not see me perhaps, but why can you not accept me as readily as the current which brings your electric light to you? Is there anything more unusual about that? Not a thing in the world. I want you to feel how natural we are, how natural life is, and how natural is even the higher attainment of life. It is a perfectly natural, normal thing. There is not one single thing about it which is not. Don't let yourself feel, because an ascended being is present, that there is something abnormal about it. There is not in the slightest a thing abnormal. When you want to get the real, glorious, natural feeling of the great ones and the great laws of life, turn your attention to Rex, Bob, Nada, and Pearl, who so recently stood here in physical bodies like your own, and think about them. That is not imagination, beloved ones. Those children were real, right out here in the outer world, and Bob was a mining engineer. Those children were real and had physical bodies, yet today they are free forever. Try to feel the reality of that. The individual who says that is not true and cannot be, is most unfortunate indeed. If you who want to be free, if you want the light and want the truth, don't listen to things that bring disturbance or discouragement into your world. Be firm. Do not let people talk silly nonsense to you. Beloved ones, let me tell you something important tonight. There is not one of you in this room, in the acknowledgement of your I am presence, who could not walk within the radiation of a raging mob, and by absolute fearlessness, call the power of life forth which would silence every one of them on the spot. You must feel the power of life. You must feel its dominion to govern every condition in the outer world, in your homes, and in your world of activity. You don't have to be unkind about it, but you can be so firm that the power of life releases its mighty energy so there is no opposition to it. Human creation does not have any power before the power and presence of light and life, which are really one and the same. Therefore remember, beloved ones, when you are calling this great, I am presence, into action in your world, you are calling the balanced activity and power of life, love, wisdom, and power, which is the mighty focus of God, the mighty I am presence, at your point in the universe. And there is no power to resist it, there is no power to override it, so long as you keep calling it forth. Your world is the action of it, you as an individual must call it forth, and whatever is going on around you has nothing to do with your victory, has nothing to do with that which you admit into your world in the name of life. Therefore, no person, place, or condition has any power over your mighty I am presence, if you but knew it. As you stand silent, calm, and firm in your call to the presence, and its mighty current surges through your body and out into your world of action, it is the commanding presence of life. You must feel that, beloved ones. Then you can be free so quickly from any limiting conditions of any kind. I know what you have to face in the outer world. We quite often see conditions which arise among friends and in the homes of those who want the light. Suppose there is only one in the family who accepts this light and wants its great freedom, and the others oppose that one. If such be the case, don't talk about it. Just silently, in the full power of your I am presence, feel its mighty currents of light and energy either flow into your body and out into your world, or direct from the presence into your home and the world around you. Command it to silence all human qualities and hold divine harmony and divine order there, so all may have the blessing which life wishes to give, because you as one in that home have God right and authority to demand light and freedom. There is no group of human beings on earth who has the right to deny you your desire for light and freedom. That does not mean people should be unkind to each other, but I tell you, beloved ones, when you are silent and refuse to discuss the great law with those who wish to criticize it, and then stand in great calm firmness, they will be compelled to let you alone. If they want to argue with you, just simply say, we will not argue this point. If you do not care for the light, then be quiet, and I tell you that power of light will go forth through you, which will silence all such qualities and make those people so ashamed, they will not try to interfere. I want you to feel that power tonight, because in the coming times ahead, every one of the I Am students will want to know and be so firmly anchored in his or her own great presence, that each one can render such great service, because all will be called upon to do it. Changes are coming. There is no question about it, but I firmly believe that before the great changes come within the earth, still greater changes will come within the feeling world of mankind. It must come with the demand which is being made by nearly 600,000 today. How can life fail? How can the cosmic light fail to come forth and give its assistance? I want you to feel tonight, beloved ones, that your wondrous goddess of liberty, that wondrous cosmic being, has watched over America with Saint Germain for all these years, more than 200 years. Do you think those great cosmic beings give time and energy unless they think they see an opportunity to render mankind a great lasting service? Today, you sometimes become discouraged at a few disappointments. Remember that Saint Germain for 400 years has worked for the freedom of Europe, and still today, when there looks like little chance of restoring the victory of the light, he is working on with a determination that the light shall yet rule in Europe as well as America. Fortunately, beloved students, there are many of the I Am students who are now at the point where they can come forth and give tremendous assistance through their higher mental bodies, in the requirements of today. Some of you who do not retain the memory of it on awakening, would be so astonished if you knew what you had done and accomplished during the night. Never in the history of mankind has so much been accomplished by individuals still embodied, as is being accomplished every night by the students of the mighty I Am presence. It is a magnificent thing. We seldom touch upon it, but I want you to have the encouragement tonight, for many of you here are giving great assistance while your bodies sleep at night. Since I have called your attention to it, just give praise and thanks and no further thought to it. Of course, you all understand that when you speak to your mighty I Am presence, it is your higher mental body who hears, understands, and answers, because your presence has provided your higher mental body which knows both conditions. Therefore, when you understand that, when you are preparing for sleep, say, now, mighty I Am presence, tonight, while this body sleeps, see that I render the greatest service of which I am capable, through my higher mental body. I say to the staff, because we have not mentioned this particular point before, in your opening decrees in the classes, when you speak of the mighty legions of light moving across the face of the earth, do you know that many of you have joined that legion of light, and while your bodies sleep, you are rendering your service in the great army of light? When it moves across the face of the earth, you are rendering a service the human could scarcely comprehend, even today. Realize that all these perfecting activities come from within out, and it is the same with national and international activities. It is the feeling world of mankind which must be governed and through which all things must act. Therefore, as this great activity goes on within, one day when the outpicturing really begins, you will see what it has meant. Today, in the conditions in the world of industry, the service of the light needs to be given. The conditions here in your blessed city need great light. It is really a beautiful city with so much water around. When the messengers came to your city the first time, you will never know the danger which filled and surrounded your city. Today, you are steadily and surely being freed from every vestige of the danger which threatened you then. Oh, it is so beautiful, it is so wonderful to see how all destructive forces of mankind can be dissolved and dissipated by sufficient call to the powers of light. Those powers of light are of course your mighty I Am presence. You see the evidence before you. The communistic control has been erased from your city, and the little which still remains will vanish, because mankind are awakening. They are awakening in the strength and courage of their own power of light, and in it, they are not afraid of what another human being shall do to them. All over America and even in the seething vortex of Europe today, there are arising strong and mighty individuals. Never cease your call, beloved ones, for ascended master friends to be raised up everywhere to bless you. Don't fail to make that call, because mankind needs it. You do have the greatest friends in the world in the ascended masters, the legions of light, and the cosmic beings. Do you know, beloved ones, how gloriously Saint Germain, the goddess of liberty, and the goddess of light have drawn the powers of light to your America? the goddess of liberty has interceded with the heart of the great central sun for the freedom of America, because once that is established, then the freedom of the earth must come. It is the only place on earth where there is a hope for it to be established, so it may be spread to the rest of the earth. You do not realize, beloved ones, what it means to live in a land and country which has been drenched with human blood. You cannot realize what that means, and we shan't attempt to have you, but just remember, your America has had the least of it, of any nation of earth, and for a long period. You perhaps do not quite understand that. I cannot take the time tonight to go into the explanation, but for a long period your North America has had comparatively little bloodshed. The whole world is awakening with a speed and power which delights us very much, and there will come a fearlessness which, ere long, will not tolerate a dictator on the face of this earth. Ere long, the great cosmic light will replace all that for the people of earth because the light will take its dominion, and then all the feeling world of mankind will become one in the harmony and action of life. Try to realize what it means when 2, 3, 4, or perhaps more individuals send millions of people to death, so-called. You know there is no death, but I mean the activity which takes them out of their physical bodies and cuts short their span which life had intended for their light's expansion. Do you not see, beloved ones, how mankind has been hypnotized by the vicious, devilish fiendishness of those dominating individuals among mankind? How do they do it? Oh, dear ones, all that viciousness is not in the form of such individuals, or in that which they have accumulated, don't you see? It cannot be, but it is in the force focused upon them, which makes them all a hypnotic power to carry mankind, millions, into the vortex of their vicious, devilish destruction. That time must pass, beloved ones, with the speed of lightning, until mankind will no longer tolerate such a thing. Why should they? The students of the mighty I Am Presence today are becoming a power on the face of this earth, and if everyone, I mean every I Am student in America, realized this night the power which is within each one's own scepter of dominion in the acknowledgement of their presence, what a transformation would take place in 90 days. You are really rendering an enormous service in these mighty I Am decrees, which are constantly going forth in all parts of America, for which we are deeply, deeply grateful. But as each one arises more and more into the full feeling of the power of their great presence of life, which they can call forth and release into action, then how much more quickly will come a change among all mankind which all wish to see. That is coming. Since the messengers were in New York, beloved ones, the change has been so tremendous within America that we sometimes stand amazed ourselves, because the earnestness of the great number of I Am students has become so great. And the constant release of the cosmic light is strengthening every one of you, giving you assistance which as yet you little comprehend. Then the divine director suddenly determined to release an added power. You have all of course known of the ancient armor and the various physical means of protection against outer destructive conditions. Well, times have changed, and are changing so tremendously and with such speed. Remember, the divine director is a mighty authority, and when he sees the time has arrived to release into the feeling world of the I Am students, or individuals, this power which makes them invincible against human suggestions, against entities, and against black magicians, then he has started to render a service to the earth which will find its dominion with the power of lightning. That is what is being done, beloved ones, to all the I Am students whom he sees are sincere. He is releasing that power of liquid light into their feeling world, which makes them invincible against human suggestions, against entities attaching themselves to their worlds, and against the influence of black magicians. Oh, beloved people, I know the Western world sometimes thinks that sounds like silly nonsense, to speak of black magicians. Well, let me tell you, there are thousands and thousands in America today who have been prevented from attaining success and happiness because of those vicious creatures who failed on the pathway of life and are determined that mankind shall not go free. That condition exists. Those creatures have been cunning enough to seldom show themselves or let anything be felt except their tragic influence, but today they are losing their power, and they know that their day is finished. Is it not the most wonderful thing on the face of the earth to find those great beings of great power, wisdom, and light, who are willing to render constant service to the earth? Oh, my dear people, if your beloved Saint Germain had not brought this I am activity forth at the time he did, your America would be in the same condition as Europe today. You would not be sitting here in the comfort of your own home with even as much peace as exists today. There are plenty of things to be corrected in. Remember, all black magicians were seized and taken from the earth at the close of 1938, and all discarnates from the Americas were removed at the same time. No more will ever be allowed to enter or remain here. America, but the condition here is angelic in comparison to what is existing in Europe and the Orient today. Don't be fooled, precious people, because the destructive forces are preventing everything possible coming forth concerning the actual condition which exists there. Russia, Germany, and Italy are nations imprisoned today. They cannot move, they do not know one moment's freedom. Therefore, dear people, do not be deceived. That is what the communists wanted to bring into America. Oh, understand me, when I speak of those people, I am speaking of their agitators and those people who were sent here from Russia and Europe to spread that nefarious thing, for what? To destroy mankind. The mass of the people do not know what is intended by the communists. There are many wonderful people who think themselves communists, but that is because they have been deceived and misled by the false promises. When I am speaking about the communists, I mean those people who are vicious in the extreme. Those agitators who come among you, dear people, care no more for you than the rats in a cellar. Remember that. They are using the opportunity to leech off every source of supply from unsuspecting mankind, and to feather their own nests and fill their pockets with money which they send to Europe to put forth further destruction. If the people of America knew the money which has been gathered by these communists and sent to buy ammunition to destroy mankind, they would rise as one body and destroy every one of them in America this hour. The communists do not know what to make of the light which is interrupting their activities. They realize their every move and feeling is becoming known, and it will become more and more so. Humanity and the people of America shall not be preyed upon by these vultures in human form, and they shall not deprive these innocent people in this country. The strike agitators take the money and food away from the people and their precious families, because of the vicious, lying promises made to them. Those agitators know it, but the unfortunate individuals who believe them, don't know it. That is the pitiful thing about your blessed people today. Be of good courage. This power of light and these mighty, I am, decrees are going forth in the mental and feeling world of mankind, and are awakening the people as you cannot imagine, even yet, to the realization of what is going on about them. The power of these destructive individuals is growing less every hour. You have heard that evil destroys itself, particularly so when mankind begin to understand how to call the power of light into action, then they can no longer hide their nefarious intentions. Oh, my dear people, in your cities, in all large cities of America, there are spies today who would cut your throat as quick as to look at you, but since the statement was made in Boston through the messengers of what has been going on, that thing has spread all over the earth. Those individuals, as soon as they have lost their dominion, are filled with the most frightful fear. You take those people who want to destroy millions of people, and bring them up to face death, and you will see the pallor of fear blanch every cell of their bodies. All of those agitators are filled with fear, and they run their bluff of dominion over people who fear them. Therefore, beloved ones, understand that your power, your call to the I am, light is stronger than a regiment of individuals who want to do wrong. Will you please bear that in mind? Your individual calls to the powers of light release a power which is greater than a regiment of humanity intent upon destruction. I want you to feel that and know why your decrees have been so magnificent and so imperative at this time. Do you realize, beloved students, that if it had not been for the I am decrees issued by the great groups of I am students all over America, much of what we have accomplished would have been absolutely impossible? I want you to feel how great a part you are of this great I am activity and protection of America and yourselves, for it is necessary to hold it. It is very necessary. If there had not been the requirement for the call of mankind, present conditions in the world would never have been. But when mankind see that in all the prayers and all the calls which have gone forth through the centuries, they have not rendered the service, then there has been something missing when all that has gone forth in the past has not produced the results required to save the mass of mankind. If you come into the employment of an individual, he expects you to produce certain results, or out you go. Well, that is exactly what the great cosmic law has said to mankind today. You have had centuries to produce results and you have not produced them. Now, we are showing you once again that by which you can produce exact mathematical results. If you do not take hold and use it, then the fault is yours. That is where the world stands today. The open doorway of freedom for mankind is here in the understanding of the mighty I Am Presence, and there is not one thing in this I Am understanding, the experience of the messengers, or anything which is wrong in these magnificent books. There is not a thing which any person on the face of this earth could not accept, or which would interfere with anyone else's religious ideas, if individuals would look upon it as life, which it is. It is the fanaticism of mankind who look to channels for freedom. Instead, they should be using the light of the I Am. Otherwise they are making a grave mistake. Could you see, could you believe, how many activities start with a firm, magnificent intent to bless mankind, and then have been used for destructive purposes? You would be amazed. Many have been seized upon, distorted, and turned into cunning destruction, and when recently some of those activities were revealed, the people were amazed. When the messenger told the people the first time he made the trip around America, that these experiences were true, and that these great beings knew everything which was going on among mankind, the people did not believe it. There were only a few who accepted the truth, but when these things were revealed, their nefarious activities stopped, and then it was openly spoken of so the whole world might know it. Those individuals saw. They not only saw, but experienced the physical activities of some of those things, then they had to believe. They will believe more and more of what the great beings of light will do for the people of earth who are sincere. Dear ones, this mighty instruction of the I Am has been no idle imagination of anyone. This is a great reality which is going forth in the final effort to save mankind. I, for one, believe firmly that mankind are going to give the response which will make the victory forever complete. I know the human so often forgets, but try to keep this idea firm in your consciousness, and if you do not do it otherwise, just make a little note of it and place it in your room, where you keep yourselves reminded. Every call you make to your I Am Presence is a power released into your world for your freedom, for your victory, for your ascension. There is no power in your world or around your world which can oppose it but yourself. Now whatever step is gained in your call to the I Am Presence, every particle of freedom and victory over limitation, is permanently sustained. You cannot go back in whatever is achieved in your call to the Presence. That is vastly different from anything else ever thought of by mankind. Mankind in the previous metaphysical understanding could forge ahead for a while, and then something would trip them up, and down they went and back they went. Not so in this understanding of the mighty I Am Presence. Everything you gain in your call to your mighty I Am Presence becomes an eternal thing in your life and your life stream, and it is natural. Therefore, you cannot go back. You must hold permanently whatever is attained. Therefore, as you go on in your mighty I Am calls, oh, please do not look for some astounding manifestation at your call. Just go on with the greatest joy in your call to the I Am Presence of life, and let its great wisdom govern all activities. Then you will find so much more than you ever dreamed of taking place in your life. Sometimes when you fix too firmly and strongly upon the objective, you get into the objective instead of the presence, and you either miss your victory or delay it. Therefore, just with a great joy of application, keep calling and calling your presence into action, and let its great wisdom govern all else. Then you will find as you keep charging, there will not be one thing denied you. Since I mentioned this, we have observed the messenger in every class in the beginning of it, urges the I Am students everywhere, before they retire at night, to call to the presence, to charge their feeling world, their physical bodies with the intelligence, the energy, and the powers of the presence, then do it again on arising in the morning, but people forget to do it. They wake up in the morning and they think, oh, dear, how I feel. Oh, I should like to sleep 10 minutes longer or half an hour longer. Oh, why do I have to go to work at this time in the morning? Yet here before them is the I Am Presence, which would answer their calls at night, and charge their bodies with the limitless currents of strength and energy and power. Then when they awakened in the morning, they would feel refreshed, happy, and glad to get up to use that energy. As long as you think of work, precious ones, you will be tired. Do you know there really is no such thing as work? You have made the mistake by so qualifying it, but after all, there is only service to be rendered to life. What do you suppose you are doing here in these physical bodies? You did not just happen to be there. You are quite inclined to think you need 3 meals a day, a comfortable place to sleep, and all that. True, you are entitled to it, but instead of that, you are here to render a service to life which gives you your eternal freedom. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Isn't that something to think about, rather than the drudgery, work, an idea that you are serving something outside of yourself, when every effort you make, if you really understood this law, is serving your own life? Oh, what a change, what a magnificent thing, and how different you would all feel when you awaken, to remember that you were serving your own precious life and striving toward your freedom through it. I know that ere long the great change will come in the consciousness and feeling of mankind, so they realize and understand that everything they do is the service to their own life for their freedom, and in what a magnificent world you will then find yourselves living. Oh, regardless of the appearance, there is everything in the world about which to be encouraged and strengthened. We feel such rejoicing, and your beloved Saint Germain rejoices so greatly. He has been doing such tremendous work in Europe. He just returned a few moments ago, and I extend to you his love and greetings. When you remember constantly the admonition so wonderfully given, that you are not to give power to the appearance world, and you must know that all human creation has no power, you will reach your mastery. My dear people, would you consider for a moment what you do, by constantly, just twice a day for 2 or 3 minutes, calling your presence to charge your world? Say, mighty I am presence, charge into my feeling world the full power of your feeling, so when I issue the decree that all human creation has no power, it charges into my world instantly and reaches out with such power that, so far as my own activities are concerned, there is not one thing in human creation which has power to touch my world or that I feel it. You would soon have such a momentum going, that everything which touched your world would have to come into harmony with it. You see, dear ones, the power is yours. The power is in that stream of life which beats your heart, in every one of you, and you must accept it, you must call it forth into action to have its blessing. It won't act to sustain life, unless you do call. Dear ones, I have seen a certain condition a number of times within the past 2 months, and I speak of this so you may see and understand the power which can be called forth and charged into your feeling world. I have observed when the messenger comes into the presence of certain individuals, their bodies tremble all over, because there were certain conditions in their feeling worlds which know instantly that he knows what is there. Day before yesterday, he went into one of your stores here to purchase a little trifle, and the individual's hand who waited on him shook so he could hardly handle the article. The individual did not know why that was, but it occurred because that power or radiation went forth to dissolve the discord and bless him. Now, dear ones, life will answer you every time. You can so charge your world with the power of the mighty I am presence, that its great harmony flows out and compels obedience wherever it moves. It has to do it. Life is the dominion of earth, when given attention and the opportunity to exercise that power. All humanity's accumulation and human creation has no power against that God dominion, or against the individual, when once he or she knows that, but if individuals not knowing the presence, keep accepting the power of outer appearances to disturb, limit, or deprive them, then they are giving power to the appearance which does it, the appearance itself could not. Remember the thing the messenger has said so often recently, as to why it is so necessary to keep your attention off discordant, limiting things. When your attention, your vision, is fixed upon some discordant or limiting thing in the outer world, your life through your attention feeding into that, brings it right back into your world for action. Then, don't you see how, unless you withdraw your attention from limiting, discordant things and discordant people, you will bring back the very things into your world which your attention accepts? That is why the old statement so long given is so true and powerful, where your attention is, there you are, and what your attention is upon, you become. There never was a truer thing in the wide world, because the very force of life compels it. If you want to give your attention to things, you must expect to handle them, because you invite them to come into your world and act. You see, dear ones, there is no use fooling yourselves, may I use your expression, kidding yourselves, that such and such is not true just because you do not want to believe it or you do not want it to be true in your world, because the law acts unerringly. If you feed your life into something limiting or disturbing, you must expect to have it act. Since the messenger understood that, the moment something out here is the slightest bit discordant or limiting, he says, hold on. Don't you accept that into my world here? Mighty I am present, see that it is cut off, then, it does not feed back through the attention. You can govern all such things and can look upon a thing without accepting it, but you have got to be consciously aware of it. That is why mankind have believed God would act for them independently. Well, God does not do it. You are given free will, and you are the decreer of how the currents of energy and your life are going to act in your world. Unless you understand that and control it, you won't have your freedom. That is why, tonight, my joy is very great in having this opportunity to talk to you and tell you, whether you need it or not, how great is our love for you, and how we stand back of you when we see you are loyal and determined to the light. Oh, you can be sure you are never alone, beloved ones. You are never left unguarded, but if individuals find things in their life experience which are not in keeping with their desire for harmony and happiness, and they keep going back and contacting those things, how can they hope to be free? You must be strong enough, dear people, to shut off the thing which has been disturbing you. Now, your call to the I Am Presence will so establish about you its armor of protection, that you can be kept free from all those things. Don't let your human limit you or make you believe because a condition exists about you, that you have longer to submit to it. You do not have to make any outward tragic activity in releasing yourselves, but in a great calm, firm, determined calling of the I Am Presence into action, you will find those conditions will dissolve around you, just as surely as I am telling you. I ask you to begin now to charge yourselves with the clear, full, and complete comprehension of all which is given in the class, and that you hold it forever sustained with its almighty power of action for your mighty directing intelligence, your invincible protection, your limitless supply of money, and all else required. Now, beloved ones, just one more word before I go. I know the conditions which exist in your world today, and the mass pressure of mankind which affects a great many people, but you do not have to let it in. You, in the knowledge of your mighty I Am Presence, do not have to be deprived of the money you require to use. Your I Am Presence is the treasure house for you in your world, and when you call to your presence, and you will hear this repeated a number of times in this class, when you call to your mighty I Am Presence for your money supply, remember that your I Am Presence is your treasure house. Just as tangible as if it held a chest of gold visible in your hands before you. Now understand how this acts. In your call to the presence, its love, wisdom, and power go into action in the physical octave about you, to bring about the conditions necessary for the harmonious release of the money supply you require. After all, no human being owns anything in this world. You cannot take it with you, you see? Those who pass through so-called death may have millions, but they cannot take that money with them. Therefore, they were only custodians of it. Oh, let us look at these things so sensibly, so naturally, so we get the full import of all they mean. Take the great number of I Am students today, if they but realized it, in the call to the presence as their treasure house, they could no more be deprived of anything they need for use, than anything in the world. Why? Because the great mass of the students issuing these I Am decrees for the financial freedom of every one of the I Am students, become a mighty action, in addition to their individual calls. That is why, tonight, I want you to grasp this more fully, because in your call which has been so precious, for the limitless supply of money for the messengers to carry on this I Am activity, all of that is a magnificent thing. It is a mighty action of the law and cannot be delayed. It cannot be withheld. Therefore, your call to the I Am presence of life, which is the governing power and intelligence of all there is, either manifest or unmanifest through human forms, has to be the governing power of the presence. Now you see and understand that the Messenger had a letter just yesterday from an individual in the East, and that one had allowed himself to drop into a condition of distress and said, "Well, it seems to me that students who have money are the ones who have the greatest success in their application." What abject nonsense! Of course that individual will get a good letter to lift that feeling from his world. Dear ones, remember this. Oh, you precious ones who are having any financial struggle apparently, remember this especially. These blessed messengers, when Saint Germain asked them to go forth, had not a dime to their names. They did not wait for something to bring limitless financial supply into their hands before they went into service. They owed 5 months' rent, as they have often told you, but they went forth willing to make the effort, and life answered them abundantly. Beloved students, never let your human selves or anybody else ever try to put a discouraging idea into you. It makes no difference where you are, what position you are in today. Remember, start right in and say to your presence, "Mighty I am presence, lift me out of this." Then see that you give willing, happy, joyful obedience to life, and you will be raised out of the disturbance before you hardly have time to realize it. When these messengers went forth, dear people, they started without money, without prestige of any kind, carrying to humanity that which the world rebelled against, the I am light. They drove their way through everything. Of course, the first year the people who really were vicious thought, and they very often said, "It is just a flash in the pan, it will soon go out." Well, it has not gone out. I mention this, that you may have strength in your financial problems and conditions, to stand unyielding in them and say to every limiting thing, "Get out. You have no power. You cannot scare me any more. You have no power in my world. My mighty I am presence is my treasure house and governs everything in my outer world, to bring its release of supply into my use. There is no other power, and I accept nothing else." If you will take that stand, oh, how quickly the powers of life will answer you and bring into your hands the release of that which you need for service. If the messengers have not proven that to the world, then there is no such thing as proof in existence. That is why we make them so firm. The I am students who allow the human self to make them yield to deceptive, limiting things, will have them in their worlds. Thousands and thousands of people in America today say, "Oh dear, if I just had so much money, what I would do with it. I wonder what they would do." That is the question. Their intent is very good, but the effect of the money when it is in their use might change the intent. Dear ones, you have to win your victory through your own mighty application. You then have a joy and strength, a power and dominion which you would not trade for anything in all the world, and don't forget it. Oh, it is the greatest feeling of freedom ever in the world when you know that your application has been answered every time. That is where you are the victor. Every one of you can have it and go forth from this night, my victory, your power and victory in the light. I thank you.